Most innovators start with a problem they want to solve, but for some, the mission begins with a loss. My guest today, Ria Rustagi, turned a devastating personal tragedy, the loss of her sister Pankuri, to a misdiagnosed brain infection, into a global mission to ensure no other family has to face the unseen dangers of brain health. Ria is a Forbes 30 under 30 honoree and the CEO of Sychedelic. She has been recognized as the UN's top 75 women in business at the G20 Summit and has been featured in Google's top 10 female-led startups and appeared in Shark Tank India Season 2, where she showcased her company's first product, Neuphony, the brain smartwatch. Today, we will not only learn about how Ria turned this heartbreak into high tech while building a neurotech company alongside her partner and ally, but also learn the art of pivot and why your biggest failure might just be the blueprint of your greatest success. Welcome to the show, Ria.
Thank you so much, Sonal. It's such an honor to be here.
I would love to begin with where it all started 10 years ago. Can you take us back to 2016 and the moment you realized you had to change the world of brain health?
So, I was doing my master's from Singapore, NTU, and my elder sister was diagnosed with a brain infection, commonly known as brain fever in India. And I thought, what is it? It's brain fever, right? It sounds like fever, so it should be treated in 5 to 6 days, but turns out not. When I landed back home, she had already gone through her first brain surgery in the first week, where obviously you have to scrape through the hair, operate to be able to control the cerebrospinal fluid, which was very excessive in pressure for her. It didn't sound like fever. The pressure in the brain fluid was very high and she will not respond. So once I met her after 3 months, I met her last in April 2016. She was in a stroke ICU at the age of 25, bedridden, all bald, in a semi-coma condition, not hearing or responding to me. And I was 22 at that time, and life had completely changed. Just the day prior, the doctors said that we were not sure if she would even make it. So the last 24 hours were very crazy for the family, where I had just landed and I was the first. My family didn't tell me of how bad it was until I landed. And then from that day, I think it was 13th of June, to mid-August, I was there with my family. I had to start my internship in Germany, but I got it postponed based on the conditions because I wanted to be there with the family, support them. And every day we were in a stroke ICU where there were 100 families all waiting for their loved ones to get better. Every day some family would just break. You will hear the first news. You'll see a 5-year-old crying because her or his father is not there anymore. A 70-year-old mom crying because his 40-year-old son passed away. It was devastating. It teaches you so many things. And every family is scared to see the other family that we could be next. It is a lot of trauma. You might see some smile on my face, but it's just too much. And I considered myself a smart person, and I was like, how can this happen? Why won't we able to detect this? She went to the hospital walking and talking. She self-admitted herself. How can this even happen? And at that time, 5 months later, I was in Germany when I got the news that your sister is missing. You come. They asked me to take the urgent flight. Obviously, my brain was dead in that flight. I was just, let's land and then we'll see. And things didn't go our way. And during those 5 months, I reached out to every neuroscientist, every neurologist in the world who was treating that condition. Out of 25 drugs, 19 were not even working on her. And the 6 drugs that were working, okay, this drug will actually cause her to have noise. she will lose her eyesight. This will make her have diabetes. That were the decisions that we had to make. And even if we choose her to save her life, she might not have a safe life, a best life, a good life. That were the decisions that we were making. And she was paralyzed all of this time. And that I was like, how can this happen? How could we have prevented this? And that's when I was not looking for the answer after she passed away, because I was in too much pain and there were suicidal thoughts and whatnot. But Bhavya, who was my husband, now boyfriend then, he kept on communicating and talking in those parameters and came to know about human computer interface, which was a very growing field that you can understand your body better. He came to Germany in 2018 to pursue masters in that space. And fortunately, I think we were supposed to land in this space. So he got a professor who had 30 plus years experience in just understanding brain data. And he then said, you can create a wearable which can help your brain understand brain better. And you cannot tell right now in the wearable form by compromising on data quality that if you have stroke or epilepsy seizures or trauma or whatever, but you can say something is off. You can give a warning saying, go and see a practitioner. This data is the differentiator between a healthy brain and an unhealthy brain. And unhealthy also from a mental perspective or a neurological perspective. This enough science has been existing and you can do that. That was our first idea of Neuphony. So that is how we entered into this space.
It's a very difficult journey, I can only imagine. So, and I'm sorry for what happened, really. It was like a tough awakening into this space for you. But you have really made it a global mission and you have come a long way to help other people using that.
I hope so.
So, and now that you said that is when you started with brain health, and so when you started Neuphony, and but now you lead Sychedelic, right? You founded Neuphony, which was India's first consumer neurofeedback wearable, and you built it with a bold mission. But then
Yes.
you hit a wall, and you have been very honest about that Neuphony didn't fulfill the mission you wanted, or the market wasn't ready. So as a founder, how did it feel to realize that, okay, the mission maybe you started with, it's not fulfilling? Or maybe even like, how did you come about this idea of Sychedelic?
So, so the mission is still the same, Sonal. The mission is the same, the vision is the same, the concept and the ideation strategy was the same. When we were on Shark Tank India season 2 in 2023, we took a deal which actually could help us do the same thing that we're doing right now. Bring Neurotech into wearables in the form of either a glass or a headphone. At that time, building a glass or a headphone, the thinner the phone is, the thinner the laptop is, the more expensive it becomes. Similarly, bringing Neurotech into main tech, consumer tech would have taken a lot of capital. And that was our reasons of partnering with those two particular companies, which didn't pan out the way I had thought. So we ended up raising a smaller capital from our own investors to be able to scale Neuphony at that time. Neuphony in India was bought by a lot of B2Bs, Yamaha, Vodafone, researchers, IITs, IIScs, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Art of Living. A lot of these folks, Nimhans, they were buying our product. They were doing research through our product. We in India had served everybody I could serve who understood EEG and had money. Now, creating awareness in the field of EEG would take a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now, my strategy there had become B2B, while I felt the better way is to give users the access to their health. Because nowadays, the market is changing, be it Canada, US, or India, or Europe. People are becoming so much self-aware. The best person to take care of you is you. So why not give you the product where you can understand your mental well-being, your emotional health better and take control. And that was our thought first for Neuphony, which didn't fulfill because of some decisions that we took. We went B2B, we did the form factor, and that's when we realized no, this is not working out anymore. It's been 4 years. We haven't achieved our goal of changing lives. Let's reflect why. The form
Right.
factor was a problem. The marketing was a problem. Form factor because consumers were not able to use that big product.
Right.
It looked sci-fi, so early adopters bought it, but it wasn't becoming mainstream like a smart ring. You have to hide the tech to make the person come alive. So form factor was a problem, marketing and branding. I said I'll revolutionize mental health. Revolutionizing mental health would take $1 billion. I didn't have that capital. So marketing was off. And the third thing was people were looking for quick solutions. In the world in India, where there are people getting groceries in 10 minutes because they do not have the patience, they want solutions faster. And that was
Yeah.
the feedback I got from 500 plus consumers I had a chat with after while shutting down Neuphony.
Yeah, 100%. And we mentioned a lot of things there, Ria. So we started with saying that marketing was a problem and a lot of issues that you accepted and have been pretty candid about which went wrong with Neophony. And as a founder, I'm sure it was a journey to learn all what all that was there to hear. We want to understand specifically that in 2024 you said you didn't quit, you pivoted, even though you said
Yes.
that the company was like the world was not ready for Neurofeedback. So let's talk a bit about psychedelic. And you mentioned about brain waves, and if I'm right here, Neurofeedback was focused on improving stress management, enhancing meditation practices, and not as much about sleep. But psychedelic is a lot about helping you sleep. And so how is it, what I'm trying to understand is how is it different from, let's say, a meditation app or something that we use on a day-to-day basis?
So, when we were tracking a lot of the EEG data from users and we were having these conversations with them, uh, almost every story came down to the single point. I have a lot of anxiety. How do you know that you have anxiety? I'm unable to sleep. Okay. I do a lot of overthinking. How do you know you have overthinking? I am always in my bed thinking for 2 hours and then I listen to music and watch Netflix until my eyes are tired. Okay. I'm unable to focus at work. Why can't you focus at work? Acha, because a lot of different things. I just have this brain fog. Acha, why do you have this brain fog? Tell me about your routine. The routine always ends up being 4 hours of sleep or 2 hours of sleep. And I've done this. I All of that EEG data that we analyze, we always came down to no matter what your lifestyle issue is, sleep is the first thing people start noticing. And we have to solve. If a person sleeps well, if I can make you just sleep 8 hours, you will be happy and relaxed the next morning. You might just have a better focus. All your problems might just get solved. And we tried to look for those things. When we were building Psychedelic, we knew we had to solve your problems. We had to solve your stress. We tried to solve for your stress. We tried to solve for your focus. We tried to solve for your overthinking. In the end, if I can just make you sleep, all of those issues were also getting solved. Psychedelic is a normal headphone. These are headphones which you can take meetings, calls, listen to music, everything. But while you're doing all of that, it has a PPG sensor which
Mhm.
reads your heart rate variability and also estimates your brain blood flow.
Mhm.
Based on these two particular metrics, I am able to understand your mood better. I predict your mood, let me put it like that. Then I ask you, what's your mood for the first 1 month?
Mhm.
Now, let's just say that your heart rate is 60. You might be anxious. Maybe your threshold is different. We have to understand the 5 major emotions people have in a day: drowsiness, anxiety, brain fog, stress, focus, and relaxed. Now, what we want to do is we want to tag these 6 emotions or moods to your heart rate data, to your heart rate data. We want to personalize it for you. We'll predict it, but over the next 1 month, we'll actually use reinforcement learning to find what is your data saying. And after that, we'll be able to predict your zone better. What does your zone through the day look like? Now, let's just assume that you are right now stressed, you're anxious, and it's, let's say, early morning, and you have to head in for a meeting. So, what the product then does is it recommends you music based on your goal. We've seen people actually take power nap sessions through the headphones a lot at 2:30 p.m., at 5:30 p.m., at even 9 a.m. in the morning. People take these power nap sessions, or even they take deep work sessions. Power nap is the most successful, most used, most popular protocol that we have. And people then do these sessions where we recommend you music which is powered by binaural beats, where the frequency is determined based on your emotions. Your emotions, the time of the day, how many hours you slept, all of these as inputs determine the frequency. If you slept 2 hours, different frequency. If you slept 9 hours, different frequency for the same emotions. Now, once I recommend you music, we analyze your heart rate. Is that changing in the right direction? If not, then we ask you to try neurofeedback, neuromodulation, where slight amount of current is sent through the top arm of the headphone to your prefrontal cortex to help you relax. So it's the easiest layman way to explain this is neuromodulation is like the gear, and music is the steering wheel. Music helps us take you into the direction where you want to go, but it's the neuromodulation which makes your brain resist less to change. And then in 15 to 20 minutes, I can make you reach your goal. People fall asleep at the 12th, 15th minute, which is amazing because then you get more hours of sleep. You're more relaxed, you're more content. And that's how psychedelic helps you feel better, whatever it is, in 15 minutes.
And that sounds fantastic. I mean, I think sleep is the next pandemic which is coming up. Lack of sleep, actually, I should say, is the next pandemic which is coming up. You explained how psychedelic works and how did the idea come about. You explained that, and that's fantastic. I think you are trying to solve a problem which is very, very global and evident. I also want to shift a bit and focus a bit on your personal journey of going through this entrepreneurship and how everything came together. You have a co-founder, Bhavya, and who's, as you said, was your boyfriend. And when your journey began, and he has been a big ally, especially in a high pressure world like neurotech. And we talked about how it's still becoming mainstream. How has he acted as your ally, and how do you two balance the emotional weight of your mission plus with the practical needs of running a global company?
Mm, it's I just it's great because the amount of sacrifices that entrepreneurship requires, and a person who's maybe, let's just say, working somewhere, who has a structured day and a job, that couple wouldn't work with the founder. It is crazy, Sonal. It is 2 days back, I go to him and say, we have to go to Jaipur. I have to travel to Bangalore with a 1 year old, and I'm taking everything with me. And you might have to come. You have to drop your things. Even when we are a couple founder, even then, I have to ask him to, let's just assume he's working somewhere. I have to ask him to break his routine to help me out for stuff where I have to be in an event. I have a baby and I have a nanny, but the nanny can't go because of some things, and he has to go with me. Is a nightmare. Entrepreneurship and having a baby, but the best in just general, it's a nightmare. But having to do this with your co-founder is amazing because the kind of sacrifices it takes, it's best when done with your partner. Like when I was pregnant and I was a founder, I was back to office in 40 days from the day of
Wow.
delivery. And those 40 days, he doubled his work, which means he got to see his daughter less. But then I went to the office so that he can get to be with his daughter as well. Because if I'm at home, then he has to double the work for me, and then he means less of a father time. So we balanced it out. Otherwise, it would have become a nightmare. Why aren't you home? Why aren't you be? And postpartum depression is another thing, huh?
Right.
So having your partner through that journey with you is must recommended.
Yeah, and that's fabulous. I think so. Do you think like it is also in part changing that narrative or the proverb which we used to hear since we were kids, right? Behind every successful man, there's a woman. Do you think that this is changing the narrative and women are no longer behind the successful man, but hand in hand together working with them?
And when it comes to a woman,
Yeah.
100%.
Mhm.
For a woman to be successful, there is definitely one man sitting behind her who's running the ship. And I cannot tell you so many times, if I have a very critical meeting, I trust nobody except Bhavya, because my daughter will not go to anybody except him. Like,
Of course.
her father, but like
Yeah,
still,
yeah.
mom being the primary parent,
Mhm.
at least in our case, I'm the primary parent to her, so she runs to me for stuff. But then if it's like I'm not there, I
Mhm.
know he's my safe place. He's her safe place. And for me to do my thing, he has to be there. Like, I could have still be doing my thing when I was single, but being married, you need your husband to support you. And when you're a mother, oh my God, if you have a great husband, your life can change. You can do everything you want.
100%. Ria, you are a master of mental resilience both in your tech and in your life. For the woman listening who is currently in her Neuphony stage where her dream isn't quite working the way she planned, what is the first step she should take to rethink without giving up?
You know the answer. You know that it's working or not working. Be it in your Neuphony phase, be it in the phase where you have to leave a successful job to start your venture, or be it in that phase where 10 men or even women are telling you that you're doing it wrong. Do not listen to anybody. People will come here and question you. People will here and come and pull you down. People will here come and tell you that they have more experience than you. Just don't listen. Listen to that very, very, very small but deep inner voice which is telling you that it's time to start something new, to shut this and start something new, to whatever it is. You just know the answer and never doubt yourself. Never. Every time I doubted myself, I've put myself in a much bigger problem. Just trust your instinct. That's it.
Amazing. And that's a very fantastic way to close the episode. Ria, you are a proof that pivot isn't failure. It's a refinement of purpose. So if you're struggling with focus, sleep, or just need to see what the future of brain health looks like, check out Sychedelic. Listeners, here's your takeaway for today. If the market isn't ready for if for your big idea, find the version of the idea that market is ready for. Don't change the mission. Change the vehicle that keep going, just like Ria here did. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in the next episode of SHEO Diaries.